So guys, if you order 3 or more packs of hooks, and like I said, we've got the GP Finesse, we've got the SS Worm, we've got offset worm hooks, we've got heavy gauge EWGs, we've got a whole wide range of hooks. Definitely try them out. Get a free hat if you order 3 or more, because I definitely want to share the love and what's so special about these hooks right here. So next up, last part of this technique is going to be the weight. On a drop shot, you've got your hook, leader, and weight, and that makes up the drop shot. These guys right here are the Picasso tungsten drop shot weights. Now this is the quarter ounce. The quarter ounce for me is a good middle ground when it comes to distance casting and also dropping straight on fish. If I am dropping straight on fish that are a little spooky, a little more finicky, I'm gonna go down to a little lighter weight, but typically quarter ounce for me gets the job done. And what's neat about these drop shot weights here is that they don't have a crimp. I personally don't like the crimps. If I'm gonna get stuck on something, I want a better chance of getting my weight back. What's cool also is that the eye of the sinker here, it actually swivels around. And I do prefer teardrop over circular or pencil style weights. So the teardrop for me comes through brush and cover rocks and stuff a whole lot easier than either the cylinder or the circle ones. So definitely give these a try. Everything you see here can be found at lakeprotackle.com, guys. So definitely go check them all out. All right, so now we're gonna set up the drop shot here in my own little special way. So of course, with any drop shot, what we're going to be doing is taking our hook wherever I put it right here. So for the purposes of the video, I'm going to be doing the straight shank worm right here. So what I like to do, so bear with me here. So I'm going to grab my hook and we're going to be doing a Palomar knot on it, and you want to make sure you have a good enough leader. So what you're going to be doing here is I like to run the point of my line up through the hook. So if my hook is standing up like this with the point on top, I'm going to push my line up through the eye and then loop it immediately back through to start the Palomar knot. But now here is the trick of this technique. I'm going to hold both. I'm going to hold the main line, or the tag end. I'm going to hold the tag end of the line and the loop, and I'm going to create a really long leader, about 2.5 to 3 foot. And now I'm going to have the hook. I'm going to bring it back down to my fingers here, back to where the loop is, to allow you to tie a really tight Palomar knot. So in this hand here, I've got the tag end and I've got the main line. In this hand here, I've got the loop and I've got the hook. So I'm gonna focus on the loop and the hook down here. I'm gonna tie a overhand knot for the Palomar knot, and I'm gonna stick the hook back through. And once I get that pulled up to the front, I'm gonna cinch it down just like you would any other Palomar knot right there, guys. So next, I've got this really long tag end. It's about 2.5 to 2 foot. All I'm gonna be doing now is I'm going to stick the tag end of this hook back through the eye of the hook to make this hook stand straight up and have my worm sit very horizontal to the bottom. So there we go. You can see my hook right here is now straight on that line, and there we go. So now all that's left to do is tie the weight on. And again, I do prefer the tie-on weights rather than the crimp ones. So I'm just gonna do a simple clinch knot on this. All right, so all I did there was a simple clinch knot. All I had to do was take the line, wrap it around the other line, put it back through, and there you go. So now I have a drop shot with around a 2.5, 3 foot leader. So next up is worm of choice. For this video here, I have a bottom hopper by Berkeley. I also use a lot of robo worms. I've used hit worms. Basically, whatever worm you want to use, you can use it. I don't have really a huge preference. Robo worms, generally for me, what I like to use. But here we go. So what's neat about this technique, guys, is that with this really long leader, a lot of pros do this, they just won't tell you. A lot of the times they'll tell you, hey, I'm throwing a drop shot, but they don't tell you the weight, they're not telling you their hook, they're not telling you how big of a distance this is between the weight and the hook. And this is kind of what I'm going to be showing y'all today, guys. So what's neat about this technique here is when you're fishing around brush especially, but if you're also fishing around rock piles, really any cover, standing timber even, what happens is with this longer leader, as your weight drags on the bottom down over here and you've got your worm you know, on a normal cast, your worm is not actually sitting exactly how far it is away from that weight. You know, when you throw it out there 40 to 70 feet, your worm is coming back very, very angled like this. So instead of 2 foot off the bottom, it's actually going to be around half a foot to a foot as you drag it by whatever you're dragging it. So having this extra length here allows your worm to suspend a little bit more. And you know, with bass, they're feeding up. They're a predatory fish, so when they do feed, they're feeding up most of the time, except when you're in the spawn time, or they're focused on specific patterns like craws and bluegill that are bedding. So what's neat about this, fishing it through brush, as my weight goes up to the brush pile, it's gonna hit that pile, and you know, depending on how big your brush is, your worm is gonna be suspended in the middle of that brush. And what's neat about this also is that on slack line, your worm can work down into the middle of the brush, weightless, going down, and then you can also flutter it back up exactly where it needs to be. So instead of dragging your worm through very fast through a brush pile and working it up and down stuff, this allows you to cover that brush pile, standing timber, whatever you're fishing much more effectively, and you can leave this sitting there for quite a long time. Now you can still work it like a traditional drop shot or big worm where you work your weight over the top and stuff. This is gonna allow you to fish much more effectively. So definitely give this one a try, guys. I highly recommend the SS Worm by Spearpoint and also the GP Finesse. If this technique helps you, come back to this video, leave a like, check out the channel, subscribe. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.